Joining me today is a television writer and producer who has worked on shows like Brockmire, Young and Hungry, and Disney's Shake It Up. She is the author of 4 humor essay collections and 2 middle grade novels. And today she is here to talk about the sequel to her debut YA novel, Anna Kay, A Love Story. Jenny Lee, welcome to The Middle.
Thank you. Thanks, Ashley. I'm happy to be here.
Well, first, give me a brief synopsis of Anna Kay Away, the new book, without giving too much away because I'm right in the middle of it and loving it so far.
Oh, great. Okay, so Anna Kay Away is the sequel to my first, which was my debut young adult novel that came out last year, 1 week before the pandemic started, basically on March 3rd. So I had 1 week of great parties and a big tour, and then everything just kind of went away. And then that was a book that was a modern day retelling of Anna Karenina by Tolstoy. And it was, but set in New York City, in Greenwich, Connecticut, and in the world of teenagers, like rich private school teenagers.
And it's so good. So what is your relationship to Anna Karenina? Did you have a love for it before, and what made you want to modernize it?
I definitely had a love for it before. This kind of came out organically. I had written, as you said, other novels for middle grade, which is younger, 3rd grade to 5th grade, but I hadn't ever tried the young adult space. So I wasn't aware that the modern day, adaptions was like a big thing. Like I knew that people rewrote Shakespeare and Jane Austen all the time.
Right.
I just didn't know how popular of an idea it was. So I kind of came about it organically. Honestly, in 2012, when I was in New York City for Christmas with my mom, and that Keira Knightley movie came out, that adaptation, the Joe Hill version. And we saw it on, I think it was Christmas Day at the Ziegfeld in New York City. And when we were walking out, we'd both read the book, and I'd loved the book forever. And we were talking about it. And I was like, it would be such a great modern retelling. And I was thinking that it's really a book about first experiences with love. And because of that, I was like, oh, if you did it modern, you'd probably need to have teenagers, probably, because that in modern society, that's probably your first brush with love, right. Where in the 1800s in Russian society, that was not the case at all.
Right.
And then it kind of popped in my head that night. I wrote and I also, the train is such an iconic imagery in Anna Karenina. And I just suddenly was like, oh my gosh, New York City could be Moscow, and Greenwich, Connecticut could be St. Petersburg, and you could use Metro North as the train in the winter, et cetera. And it just kind of came to me in a flash. And I emailed my book agent then, and she was like, oh my God, this is an amazing idea. She's like, you have to write it right now. And then hence 5 years later, I was like living in Los Angeles and trying to get my TV career, writing career up and going. So I tried a couple of times. I couldn't figure it out until 2018. I figured out how to do it.
Well, I'm so glad you did it, because it's awesome. When I first was reading, I was like, oh my gosh, is this the new 10 Things I Hate About You? Like, there's so many movies out there that I think, especially a younger demographic who isn't well versed in literature, may not even know that it's based on these classics. So I had this question saved for later, but is an adaptation in the works? Because I feel like both books are so visual.
Oh, a TV adaptation?
Or movie, yeah.
Or movie. There is TV development news, but I can't really discuss it yet. But yes, that is absolutely was always the goal for me. I definitely knew it needed to be a novel first, because I'm a book writer probably at heart, even though these days I'm like, it's my side hustle, but writing TV is my day job, basically. But it was the fact that I ultimately worked in TV that made me finally figure out how to write it, because it's, an 800 plus page novel, and to try to condense it down, that was really the tricky part. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, Anna Kay has so many characters, but the original has double the number of characters. Yes, so that was the hard part.
Well, you nailed it. And it's been compared to Gossip Girl meets Crazy Rich Asians, which immediately made me excited to read it in the first place. So were either of those inspirations when you started writing, or did you have anything in your head, or was this just completely organic based on the classic?
Probably completely organic, honestly. I read Anna Karenina the first time when I was in high school, like at age 15. I had gotten grounded for borrowing the family car without permission. And my older sister was at Brown and taking Russian literature. And she sent me the novel because they had just finished in class, and was like, you should read this. Her life was way worse than yours. And I was like, 800-page novel, no. But then I was grounded. I didn't have much else to do. And I read it, and I fell in love with it. I've kind of honestly read it every decade. Like I read it in my 20s. I read after I was married the first time, you know, in my early 30s. And it's just a different reading each time. So, but for me, when I was adapting it, I was in no way being like, I should rewrite this as like a, you know, great literature. I wanted it to be fun and soapy and accessible and like, I don't know. I just wanted it to be fun because obviously I don't think we needed, I mean, it's one of the greatest books of all time, in my opinion. I don't think we needed me trying to write a serious adaptation. There just was no need for it. I wanted it to be frothy escapism and just like a whole different world.
Absolutely. So I'm curious, since you are a TV writer first, do you write your books with TV in the back of your mind?
I never have before until Anna Kay, because that is sort of what cracked it wide open for me to figure it out. Because I had tried different plotting structures, but again, I was like in 2018, I had like minor surgery and I was kind of laid up for a week. And I finally watched Game of Thrones because I'm one of these people who wanted to read the book first. So it was like right before the last season. And I was like, no, I have to wait to watch it all after I read the book, but I had no time to read the book. But finally, my husband's like, this is the perfect time for you to watch Game of Thrones. So I watched it and I was like, oh my God, I was obsessed like everybody else. And then I started reading the book because I was still laid up. And I mean, I watched it straight in like 5 days. I binged the whole thing. But then I was like, oh my God, the book's so similar. And I was like, that's it. That's how I have to figure out Anna Kay. I have to use my my TV writer brain and structure it like scenes and make it very visual. That's why the chapters are so short and they move so quickly. So when I was structuring Anna Kay, I was thinking of it as as a season 1 of a 10 episode, 1 hour prestige drama. So I was like, there's a big scene at Coachella. And to me, that was the penultimate episode leading up to the finale episode. So that really crystallized everything. And I was able to I started writing immediately the book right after that.
So do you prefer writing novels or for TV?
You know, it's tricky because in the beginning, I was always wanted to be a book writer, write short stories and plays. And I wasn't that interested in TV and movies. But now that I'm in TV, what I like about TV is that it's kind of a group process. It's like putting on a show, obviously. And I'm very social. I like I'm very personal. I like the people aspect of it, that it's a group project working on it together. But then what you realize is that a lot of TV, it's not, there's one creator, but there's many, many voices of a studio and a network. And so there's so many opinions. And I started to miss writing on my own because then you get to be the sole creator basically of a book. Obviously you have editors, who help out, but it's just a different sort of process. So I think I'm going to continue doing both. So for me, I feel like my day job will always be TV, writing, producing, but like books on the side is like a guilty pleasure where I just have freedom to kind of do and say whatever I want.
That's cool. And it's interesting in that you get to do both and like wear both hats. I think that makes it more fun because if you get tired of one, you can do the other, switch back and forth. I saw on your Instagram that you called out some of your favorite AAPI authors to support, and I would love to call more out on here. So who are your favorite lesser known authors that right now that we should check out?
Let me see. Flatiron Books, my wonderful publisher, has a new Emiko Jean. It's called Tokyo Ever After. It's just about to come out. I think we have a thing coming up we did a conversation for EW. That was really fun. The other one, I am a fan of Jenny Han, To All the Boys. I watched it first though, and then I went back and read
Me too, which I normally don't do. But
me either. Same. Yeah. I just wanted to see it. So I read, her. I've read, I like some of the classics, Maxine Hong Kingston, Celeste. I never know how to pronounce her name. Is it it's NG Ning? Is it Ning?
That's how I
pronounce it. Okay. Right. I was always curious about that. I think she's a wonderful writer. There's so many. And what's great is I really think young adult literature is really leading the way. I'm very impressed with how many like diverse books are coming out about so many different topics. I feel like because it's obviously has a teen audience and teens today are so socially aware, they're really like leading the charge. And I think that's wonderful that like there's a lot of change coming to book publishing.
I agree. I saw that Jenna Ushkowitz is voicing again the Audible version. She's awesome. Like, did you know her before this from your?
I didn't know her before. They were, I mean, when we were talking about the audiobook, they were like, it'd be great to get a Korean American, voice actor. I was like, oh my God, absolutely. And so she was like on the list and I was like, wait, Jenna Ushkowitz of Glee. Oh my God, she's my first choice immediately. So then I did get to meet her right before she started on book one. And so we had brunch in West Hollywood and it was really fun. And honestly, I've kind of become a little bit friendly with her because I'm also friends with Ali Maki, who is the co-founder and creator of Asian American Girl Club, which is an Instagram club for like all Asian American girls. And she's friends with Jenna. And so they're like hosting an event with me as well. So we really were kind of like channeling all our like Asian girl power together and doing a lot of fun events. So
that's awesome. So what is next for you? Is there another book that you're working on, or are you focusing on TV right now?
I have a couple TV projects in development right now that I can't unfortunately talk about because they're not exactly official yet. So I'm doing that. I am working, one of them with Margaret Cho, who I'm a huge fan of, love her. Besides the books, honestly, I know you're in the middle of Anna Kay Away, so I won't tell you anything about the end, but I do think there might be a third. I mean, it's not official yet either, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, there's definitely room for her senior year because the first book takes place her junior year. The second book, Anna Kay Away, which I have right here, Anna Kay Away, takes place in the summer. So I really was like, oh, who doesn't want to see how rich kids party in the summer? So it takes place just only in the summer right after the events of book one. And so now it's time for her senior year. And I just thought that would, I mean, it's just like a perfect way to do a trilogy, I feel like. So
absolutely. Did you do any sort of really fun research for these books in this like super rich world and like all of these fancy functions and events?
That's my favorite part. My favorite part. All I do is like, in Anna Kay Away, she travels to Seoul, Korea with her father. She's in Italy. And I just am like nightclubs in Rome, best restaurants in Seoul, like modern day, amusement parks. And so, and honestly, while I was writing most of it during the pandemic, when I was trapped in my apartment with my husband and dog, it was really great to like look around and see. Like I just went from hotel to hotel. I honestly do look up collections of dresses, like what she would wear. And when I say the label, it's actually like a dress that came out that season that she would be able to wear in like the resort line, etc. So that's super fun for me too. That's just a guilty pleasure of mine.
But have you been to any of these super exclusive places? Obviously, like not this past year, but
not this past year in that. But I mean, when in New York City though, it's funny because I went to NYU and
me too.
Oh yeah, did you? I'm sure I was there much earlier than you, but like I was 18, in New York City. So like, and then my 20s were in the 90s and stuff. So a lot of the references that were there in my time probably aren't there anymore. So I had to like basically rely on like friends and little sisters and teenagers of friends to be like, what's the cool club now that everyone's going to in New York City?
So, I mean, there's something timeless about like the club scene. And especially I feel like so grateful that I was able to experience it at 18 or 18, 19, 20, like, because my mom never would have let me go when I was in high school, even though I'm from the Philly area. It was like a train ride away, but still like, it's cool.
Yeah, New York, there's nothing, I don't know, New York is just like this magical place of possibilities. And, I was nowhere near as wealthy as any of those kids. So, but I remember always looking around and being like, who are these super rich kids that you see, right? I mean, it's kind of crazy. So to me, I've always just like, it's just such a fun world for me. I mean, even though I did set it, I was a little wary. So I made sure that the Dustin character, who is adopted Black and Jewish, and goes to public school, that he was kind of the voice of reason, that it was the one who could call out them and be like, most people, like 99% of people don't live the way you do,
right?
To kind of take them down a notch. So I was very mindful of that.
Well, everyone needs to read both books if you have not already. Obviously, start with Anna Kay Love Story and then Anna Kay Away. Jenny, what's your Instagram so I could put it up?
Oh, it's at Jenny Lee Writes.
Awesome. It was so nice talking to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It was wonderful talking to you, Ashley. Thanks so much. I'm so happy that you're enjoying the second one. You got to let me know how you like it.
I will.
Okay. Okay.